Hello, you wonderful people. My name is Gnome Sane, and welcome back to another episode of Gamesician. This time, we are Russian.
Get out of here, stalker.
Well, okay, maybe not exactly, but we're going to be playing a game that was developed during the Cold War in the USSR. Tetris! Tetris is one of those magical games from the 80s that everyone knows about, pretty much. It might just be as popular as Mario. Alright, maybe not that popular, but still. Tetris is a puzzle game where you move blocks into other blocks so that way you can get rid of blocks. So, blocks can reach the top. That may not be the best explanation, but oh well, I'm gonna keep it in. The game also had some pretty well-composed tunes as well. Some of the roots were buried within the Soviet Union, but some were not even related at all. Tetris was first released to the world June 6th of 1984. The man behind the game's development was Alexei Pashitnov, who was an artificial intelligence researcher who would write simple games in order to test the capabilities of new hardware. He came up with the name Tetris by combining the words tetromino and tennis, which was his favorite sport. The original idea of the game was to use pentominoes, but the idea became too complicated, so Alexei switched to tetrominoes instead. In case you were not aware, because I wasn't initially whenever I did the research on the game, pentominoes are, quote, a plain geometric figure by joining 5 equal squares edge to edge. As for tetrominoes, it's the same exact definition except 4 instead of 5. The more you know! Development for Tetris was on the Russian PC known as the Electronica 60. It was later ported to an IBM computer, to which then it went to computers from the Commodore 64 to the Apple II. The Soviet Union formed Elektronik in order to market the rights to Tetris around the world. Geez, no wonder they say Elorg instead. That's just way too long and has no ring to it. I guess the USSR couldn't expend more resources to come up with some better names for their companies. Licensing got extremely out of hand extremely fast due to the increasing popularity of Tetris. Officially, Elorg licensed the brand to Atari for arcade machines and also Nintendo for consoles and handhelds. The version of Tetris that we are going to be talking about is the one released for the NES. Hirokazu Tanaka was the composer tasked with coming up with music for the NES release. He has a great record of work ranging from sound design to designing of hardware. The main NES titles that Tanaka is credited on are Dr. Mario, Kid Icarus, Metroid, and Mother. As a side note, he also worked on music for its sequel Mother 2, or as we know it here in the States, Earthbound. Oh, Mother. I can't wait to talk about you. As for hardware design, Tanaka also worked on the Famicom and Game Boy audio hardware. Finally, he also co-designed the NES Zapper, Game Boy camera, and Game Boy printer. This dude was a beast. I'm really going to have to step up my game in the world. Therefore, I'm going to make a game called Buy This Because It'll Be Extremely Awful, Have No Substance, and most likely be 95% DLC. Also, buy the Season Pass. You see that? That was a joke. This is why I don't make jokes. They're awful. Tanaka wasn't the only composer to have their work on Tetris for the NES. Music 1 of the game is actually worked by Piotr Ilyich. Okay, just to save myself some face, so I don't mess that up because I got it right that time, I'm just gonna call him Pit. The original song is called Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy, which is from the Nutcracker. Also, there's Georges Bizet, who was a French composer that composed the Toreador song that was used as a victory theme for Game B. I believe it was used in some overhyped horror game that crashed and burned just as fast as it started. It's pretty strange how impactful this game was. It broke barriers between the US and Soviet Union during our biggest era of tension, the Cold War. To this day, Tetris has stood the test of time. It's simple and yet so addictive. The game has been on multiple systems like the PlayStation and N64 up to iOS and Android devices. That's crazy! Alright, enough about history and jokes, let's talk about the music. While playing the game, you have the option to hear 3 base musical tracks delightfully labeled Music 1, Music 2, and Music 3. All of these songs have faster paced versions to let you know when you're getting close to losing the game. Music 1, as I said originally, was composed by Pit for the Nutcracker, to which Tanaka arranged it for the game. Music 2, 3, the success and high score tracks, however, were composed by Tanaka. studio did a great job of applying traditional Russian music to the game. I honestly thought the song would have been made by someone like Pitt, but I guess not. I'm glad that there was more than just one Russian sounding piece in the game. Music 3, on the other hand, doesn't have its roots in Russian culture. It's such a mellow melody that it can really keep you in the game. As a side note, apparently, the song was used as the hold music whenever you called Nintendo. Just a little tidbit there. The success and high score tracks really don't have any relation to the Russian culture either, but as you put in your name for hopefully a huge high score after a long and hard game, you can relax a bit. As I said earlier while I was attacking FNAF, the victory music for beating Game B was originally composed by Georgia Bizet. This is actually a pretty famous song, and I completely forgot that it was in the game until I beat Game B. Well, my friends, I believe that this is all that there is to say about the magical game of Tetris. I hope this video was just as magical as the game. It just goes to show that even when cultures are battling it out, gaming can pass those borders. Or it could have meant the Soviets were trying to brainwash us so it would be easier for them to commence their plans of world domination. Oh my goodness. They've done it. We're done, lads. It's over.
Get out of here, stalker.